going on, you guys? Theo here with the Big Review, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. And today we are going to be talking about a lot of different topics, so I want to jump right into it. But before we do, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. It helps me out a ton as a new YouTuber. So let's go ahead and first things first today, talk about this new update from CM Yuri. We are going to be getting a New Year celebration event at maybe almost a week late, but we're getting it. So it looks like as of tonight, with the reset, we are going to be getting some new dungeons and some new game modes to keep us busy and add to the daily grind. So let's go ahead and talk about what we'll be getting. So, first things first here, we are going to see that this will be happening tonight. So it'll be happening tonight at 8 p.m. PST, so for those of you in different time zones, you'll have to adjust accordingly. But basically, we are going to have a new SP dungeon as well as a new story dungeon in general, kind of like what we have right now with the Christmas dungeon. It is looking like this will be the Andy and Mai's Love and War beginning in the new year, so that will be your new SP dungeon slash story dungeon that we will be getting. Presumably it will be added after we lose the Christmas event that has been going on that we talked about yesterday. So the next thing that we want to talk about, because you'll see here that it's basically just going to walk you through what we already know. You're going to have the ability to use bonus fighters and battle cards, kind of like we are already doing with the Christmas event. There'll be an exchange shop, so on and so forth. Now, there will be a time attack mission for this one as well. So we've had these in the past with past holiday events, which will be nice. That usually means a few more rubies, so that is going to be a very nice addition for this. But moving on here, the Team Relay Dungeon event boss, Ghost King. I'm not sure what ghosts have to do with the new year. Please don't be the ghost of 2020. We don't need that too soon. So yeah, and hopefully with this Ghost King dungeon, there is not the same frame rate issues that we had with the Chang Gohan event that is currently running. That has been a nightmare for a lot of people. And so hopefully they have got that figured out as well. But we have had the Ghost King in the past. It looks like we're just going to be getting a rerun for him. So that'll be something. But moving on down here, you'll see that we're also going to be getting the Protect the New Year Cake event back as well. That'll of course be in the Advent Dungeon tab. So we've had this before as well, so it'll be nice to have it back, I guess. But yeah, another rerun of an event. And then we have a very exciting mini dungeon coming back, which is the Rice Cake mini dungeon, which is the one, if you guys remember, with the Lady Chang, where you're basically just swinging the mallet and trying to time it correctly, and you get prizes based on how many times you hit the spot correctly. So that's going to be cool. This was actually really nice because it had some pretty nice rewards for it, so it'll be nice to have this one back. It looks like we will indeed be getting the gold and the imprint stones, most importantly, back with that for prizes, which I know a lot of people took full advantage of the last time. So that's going to be in there. We're also going to be getting a new special login streak bonus, which is pretty cool. It looks like we're going to be getting a grand total of 500 rubies for this over the course of a week. So again, more rubies. Anytime you get free rubies, it's always nice. So you'll get that for just logging in every day. So very cool. You can see Leah there. Looks like she's kind of become the mascot ever since they released her card set and helped break the game for a lot of people. So anyway, down here, we are going to be getting a new roulette, and this is going to be for the 2000 Athena. Now, we talked about 2000 Athena briefly the other day in a previous video. She's a pretty decent gold border character that was recently added into the Unified banner, so it'll be nice for people who don't have her yet, that have maybe been using their rubies for things like the Boss Syndrome characters, or been saving their rubies up after having gone in on the Seven Knights collab, to be able to try for her. Specifically for those of you who are newer or free to play, this will be nice because she is actually a pretty decent gold border character. And this looks like, I read through this earlier, kind of standard fare for a roulette, nothing too special here. So that'll be cool though to have her and have the ability to craft her special card as well, it looks like. So yeah, very, very neat. And then if we go down here to the bottom, we're also going to be getting finally here a increase to our XP by 50% for the XP and power-up dungeons. so that'll be nice too. So there's going to be a basically double XP or XP and a half, I guess, as it were, event going on. So that'll be cool too. So for those of you, I know I'm getting close to level 400. So for those of you who are still trying to grind your rank up, this will be nice. It's always nice when this comes around. So yeah, that is going to be the New Year update that is a week late. Looking pretty decent. It looks like a lot of busy work, really, for the most part. Nothing in here that is all that exciting. There wasn't any info on any new characters or anything of the like. I would assume that we aren't probably going to be seeing a new character probably until Goro goes away in about a week. So in about a week, whenever that happens, I'm assuming we'll see the new Athena that we've talked about data mines for in the past. So that is the first part of today's video. I wanted to talk about this real quick. You have until the end of today to get through all of your Christmas SP dungeons and your different events for Christmas before that is going to go away. So make sure that you do that. If you still have things in the shop that you need to claim, make sure you do so. But let's go ahead and move on to my first ever list, and that is going to be as it pertains to what 5 FES I want to see in 2021. Alright, you guys, so before we go ahead and hop into the top 5 FES that I want to see in 2021, I wanted to go ahead and preface a few things. So first and foremost, the first thing I wanted to talk about is this is in no way, shape, or form meant to be a prediction video. This is simply a wish list, a personal wish list from me for 5 characters that I want to see added into the game in 2021. So basically what you're going to see is 5 characters that I have a personal affinity towards that I want to see Netmarble add this year. So this is in no way, shape, or form going to be a prediction video for anything, specifically as it pertains to my number 5 pick, which you will see here in just a moment. But I just wanted to briefly touch on some things with some of these characters and talk about some of the characters I feel like need to be given a little bit more shine in the game. Now, I do think that there is definitely a good shot for a lot of these characters to get added this year, but in no way do I have any type of insider information or anything along those lines that would lead me to the conclusion that they are 100% happening. Like I said, we'll go through the different reasons I think they could if it pertains to them, but really this is just going to be a personal list for me of characters that I want to see. But I definitely want to also know what characters you guys want to see as well. So make sure that you leave that in the comments below and let me know what characters you guys want to see. Now, another thing I wanted to make sure that I brought up before we get into this is I am not going to be putting specific characters on here for certain reasons, even though I would love to see them. For instance, and this might be a heartbreaker for some of you, I'm not going to be putting K99 on the list. Reason being is I just don't think that that's ever going to happen. No, I'm not wanting to debate you on whether or not it could happen. I just don't believe that it probably ever will. If it happens, I will be very happy, along with many, many people who love the edgelords, but yeah. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and move in and talk about our first pick, and it's going to be none other than Akuma. So I went ahead and spotted myself one collab pick. Otherwise, this entire list would have been collab picks, and you would have had a bunch of Yu Yu Hakusho characters and other characters from other franchises that I personally want. But we're going with Akuma for the number 5 pick because I do hold hope that we will see a Street Fighter collab if it's ever going to happen this year. I think that now is the time, if they can kind of settle the differences at Netmarble between Capcom and SNK as far as sharing their characters, then it has got to happen this year. I think that would be a huge boon for the game and really inject new life into it. They have teased us saying with this collab in February that is the collab that has been the most requested, and while we have 0 information and 0 confirmation that that would mean Street Fighter, what we do know is that that is the one that I think everybody has kind of clamored for. So yeah, Akuma to me, when you think of Street Fighter, you think Ryu, Ken, and Akuma. So that is going to be my number 5 pick. Here's to hoping we get a Street Fighter collab in 2021. Moving on to my number 4 pick, and this one may cause some people to kind of roll their eyes, but I like Joe Higashi. I'm a huge Fatal Fury fan. That is no secret on this channel. And for me personally, I would love to see Joe added into the game. Yes, he is a comedic relief character to a lot of people, but Joe in general has a really interesting style. I enjoy the Muay Thai characters, if you can't already tell. And personally to me, Joe has always been kind of a fun character. You know, yes, he cannot be necessarily taken seriously at times, but Joe is a fun character that I think would lend himself very well to this game's style, especially with kind of the way his tornadoes work. So I think that if they added Joe, it would be a really cool character. Even a lady version of him I think would be super adorable. So yeah, I think that overall Joe deserves a FES character, and here's hoping he finally gets some respect. Now, here's one that's going to tick everybody off. I want a Shuni in this game, and I don't even care. So personally, I think Shuni's cool. I know a lot of people don't like him, and since his introduction in King of Fighters 14, rather, a lot of people have given Shuni crap, and I don't get it. I personally think that he is a very interesting design for a character, and I also think that his fighting style is really cool. So for those of you who've never looked at him in King of Fighters 14 and checked out his moves and his different abilities, he actually would make a very interesting character for this game, and as a character that they're trying to make into a protagonist, especially with King of Fighters 15 on the horizon this week with its first trailer, I think that this is definitely the year Shuni should be added in. And yeah, stop hating on Shuni, he's cool. So anyway, let's move on to a pick that'll make everybody happy, and that's Nightmare Geese. So Nightmare Geese, for those of you who do not know who he is, basically he's an undead version of Geese, and he's like an edgelord, awesome looking character. So everybody wants him in the game, obviously, for those reasons and those reasons alone. But I digress. I'm joking, half joking. But yeah, Geese's models have been in the data for a very, very long time. And personally, I really like his design. I think he looks really cool. I think that they kind of maybe let the cat out of the bag a little bit with this one, with the Boss Syndrome characters recently. I think there's every chance in the world that we see Nightmare Geese now, whether it is as a Boss Syndrome character or as, you know, a Halloween Fest type of character at some point this year. I do think that this is going to be the year that we see Nightmare Geese added into the game. So I think of all of them, this one and my number one pick have the best chance in 2021. But speaking of my number one pick, this should not surprise anybody who watches this channel. It's King. So for those of you who do not watch my channel, I love King. She's my favorite character. She is the character that kind of made me fall in love with the SNK fighting franchises with Art of Fighting, and then on to my real love, which was Capcom vs. SNK 1 and 2. But King is a beloved character in the franchise for a lot of reasons, and I'm not going to get into all of them here. It'd be way too long of a video. But for those people who don't play her, who don't understand why she's important to the franchise or why so many people care for her, she is a popular character for many, many, many reasons, and still to this day one of the most picked characters in the King of Fighters tournament scene. So I think that it is long overdue for King to get a FES variant. I think that at some point in 2021 her time has come. As recently as a month or so ago, she was actually voted third in the Who Do You Want to See Next as a FES character vote. So I think that there is a very good shot that King gets her FES variant. I do hope that it is not a holiday version, although if it does happen that way, I'm not going to complain because at least she will have gotten her FES character. So here's to hoping in 2021, King finally gets the respect from this dev team that she deserves and gets a FES version. So that is my list, guys. Like I said, it's in no way, shape, or form meant to be a prediction, but it is more so just a wish list. So let me know in the comments section below what characters you guys would love to see, and I'd love to discuss it with you. So let's go ahead and move on to this Expert Omega Rugal run that I had yesterday. I did several runs against him, testing out this team, and I was very impressed and was able to significantly improve upon the numbers I even posted yesterday. But before we get too much into that explanation, there's something coming up at around 50 million damage here I want you to see, so pay attention right here. So you'll notice that I took no damage from that, and that is by design. There is actually a way to, and it's not 100%, it takes a lot of split-second timing, but I've been testing it quite a bit. There is a way to avoid taking damage from Omega Rugal's stun, and basically what it requires you to do is to time it perfectly, but you need to hit your finisher right as he goes to stun you. For whatever reason, when you do that, if you time it correctly, you will not take damage. You'll still take the stun. I have not found any way, shape, or form to get around the stun. However, if you time your finisher right as he goes to stun you, you will, a lot of times, avoid the damage. I have not been able to replicate that through other means. It has always been when I have hit the finishing move right before I take the stun. So whenever he winds up for that animation, the second you see things dim and him go to stun you, make sure that you smash that finisher, and you will hopefully be able to avoid damage. And it's very, very beneficial for characters like Dellons, who take quite a bit of damage from him very quickly whenever they go for that stun against him. So make sure that you try this. Make sure you kind of practice it. Like I said, it's not 100%. Sometimes you will miss the timing, but if you go back and you watch some of my other runs, you will notice I've done it several times in the past, and it's mainly out of practice. I've been trying to nail down kind of the mechanics behind it. I'm sure it's some form of mini exploit of some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure if it's something they'll probably patch out at some point, or if it's intended. I would assume it's probably not, but that is something that you are able to do as long as you practice it and are able to time it correctly. So I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that, and I wanted to make sure I brought it up. Now, I will say that this run is well over 300 million damage. I think it was about 331 or so. I was able to do around 335 at most yesterday in the 6 or 7 runs that I kind of tested, but I'm sure that I'll be able to shatter that even as well. I've been using Omega Rugal a ton this week in preparation for the review coming up, and after we finish this run, I'll show you guys the cards and everything that I used, because I did change those from yesterday's run as well. But I do want to go ahead and try out Eileene as well. I've heard nothing but good things about her for this. I've seen some ridiculous runs in the Japanese side or the Korean side of the game. It has just been absolutely bonkers the amount of damage people are able to do with Eileene versus him, and really it just comes down to spamming finishers. But this is basically me just wanting to test Omega Rugal and take him to his limit and see exactly what he is capable of. Like I said, I want to get a very good idea of where to rank him whenever we get to the review this Sunday, as I try to do with every character. I try to be as fair as possible and unbiased as possible. Yes, I love Rugal as a character, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I don't try to, oversell him like I do with everybody. I try to at least cut it down the middle and be precise with the things that I'm saying, or at least be conservative in my ratings for these characters. I don't want to inflate numbers or to obviously go under what they are capable of. So I try to be precise with these things, but whenever we kind of get away from using him as much in here and getting footage and testing him out, and I feel like I'm in a good spot with it, I will try Eileene out and see what I can do. I actually saw, I believe it might have been a Korean account or it might have been a JP account. I couldn't quite tell. Unfortunately, I don't speak or read the languages. I'm sorry, as much as I think that that would be cool that if I could do that, I can't. But I will say that I have seen absolutely nuts numbers. Like, I saw one run that was over 700 million damage with Eileene on the team, which is absurd. So yeah, that is pretty much going to be this run here. We end up getting, I believe, around 331 million damage on him on this one. And this was the one where I was basically like, all right, I'm done for the day. I've done this way too much today. I'm done. So we went ahead and just went with this run, but like I said, I did a shade over that with some of the other ones, but not by much. But I am consistently able to get over 300 million easily with this team. So going ahead and taking a look at the cards before we end the video, just so you guys, if you want to try this yourselves, you'll know what I used. But I went ahead and used the Orochi set and then the 7 Knights option, and the big one here for me, I think, is the Meaning of Hell option, the new option for the Boss Syndrome characters. It is very, very strong, and it has helped me a ton with damage output in some of these runs. So specifically on Orochi Iori, because he is a boss fighter and because he does have quite a few attacks that will benefit from it, I think that it is a very strong option for him. On Dellons, I went ahead and used the Tekken set, and then I used the K option and the Kula option, really just because I at that point was on autopilot and I decided just to go to the defaults. But on Omega Rugal, I went ahead and used a Leah set, and then again the Rugal option and the 7 Knights option. So that's the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Continue.